Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kurt, and welcome back to Farlands or Bust. Bah to you too, sheep in the distance, jumping over the bed, excited here for episode 478 of Farlands or Bust. 478. I did not remember where we left off on the last episode, but apparently it was in a winter wonderland. I had completely forgotten. But let's secure the last episode's hidey hole, grab Wolfie, get our inventories a little bit under control, and continue west, right towards that creeper. West towards the Farlands, specifically. Ooh, multiple creepers. Creep eye, if you will. Creep eye. And we'll continue making progress here. Like I said, episode 478. It is Monday, May 4th, 2015. I did not update that part of my notes. It still says Friday, May 1st. So it is a miracle that I even corrected it, ad-libbed it, if you will. Normally, I just listen to what my notes say and consider it the truth. But it is actually Monday, May 4th, 2015. May the 4th be with you. La, 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 la. You haven't heard that enough today, have you? But, yeah, May 4th, 2015. We are still raising money for Child's Play charity at farlandsorbust.com. Do me a favor and head on over there and check that out. You can, if you haven't been to farlandsorbust.com recently, now that's a site that I don't really check the analytics on. I probably should do that. That's normally what people who own websites do, isn't it not? Just to kind of see how people are actually using their website. But yeah, farlandsorbust.com. Check it out. Just peruse around. If you feel like it, there is the donate button right there that you can then donate directly to Child's Play charity, but maybe just check out farlandsorbust.com, see what you've missed. Things really haven't been updated in a while. I still have no solution to update the overviewer map, unfortunately. I really wish I did. I know I've been offered many times from very fine folks such as yourselves things to do, but things are not going well there for that. But maybe, hopefully, sometime in the distant future, we'll figure that out. But there's a whole frequently asked questions things there. There's the link to the Spreadshirt shop if you want to give that a perusal. And it's a website I made myself. Maybe it should be updated sometime soon. Who knows? Maybe. But yeah, farlandsorbust.com. We're up to, the point of this ramble was to update you onto where we are with our Child's Play charity fundraiser. $37,392.50. 74% of the way there to our $50,000 goal, that is. And then when we reach that goal is when I will press F3 on a Flobathon, a live stream. To cap off, to put a cap on the end of this season 5 of Farlands or Bust. So get us to that goal and we'll do that. I'm trying to aim, it would be nice to aim for June, early June. I did not yet update myself on what that was, but we started, for those of you who don't know, back in March 2011 when I started doing YouTube. I started just a normal old Let's Play series, called it Minecraft Adventures. In a couple months, I was already on my way to the Farlands. In June 2011 is when I'm like, you know what, we got to make this important. This has to mean something. So I decided to start raising money for Child's Play charity. That is when I also first titled this series Farlands or Bust, and it was early June. It was June something, early June 2015. And or 2011, it's 2015 now. Hello, welcome to the future. In 2011, and it would be appropriate, I suppose, to hold a Flobathon on that anniversary to mark the 4 years of raising money for Child's Play charity. So let's try to get to that. And let me pitch an idea. I'm throwing a ball up in the air and seeing if anybody's gonna try to grab at it. Grabby hands, you. Here's an idea, and I don't normally do this. This is the first time I'm doing this ever in the history of my YouTube channel. I realized that live streams in general, we tend to raise a lot of money for Child's Play charity during the Flobathon, above and beyond our goal, obviously. So I'm thinking, this month, May, maybe we can live stream once a week, Farlands or Bust. I have my weekly live streams completely separate from my weekly live streams, Twitch Tuesday or Twitch Wednesday. Those are, I play different games, definitely not Farlands of Bust, but usually not Minecraft either. But as a separate deal, perhaps once a week in May, there's 4 full weeks in May, we can do a live stream and like say, yes, this is a fundraiser live stream. Let's get the funds raised while we're live streaming. Farlands or Bust. I'm thinking Fridays. Perhaps we could record live the Friday episode of Farlands or Bust on Twitch and raise money for Child's Play charity at the same time. But the way you want to let me know, I mean, obviously everybody's going to want that, obviously, but the way I'm going to hear that you want that is if, and this is again, maybe not my favorite thing in the world, but this is the first time I'm attempting it. If we can get this video, this episode 478 of Farlands or Bust, to 2,000 likes. 2,000 likes. Normally, like the last episode has maybe like 400 likes. An episode from 2 weeks ago maybe has about 700 likes. So definitely above and beyond what the like to view ratio we normally get. But I know there's at least 2,000 of you out there because the last episode of Farlands or Bust has 8,000 views. So let's try to get this video to 2,000 likes. And that will let me know that, yes, do some live streams once a week in May. Fundraiser live streams to help kind of to solidify. At the rate we're going, we won't make it for early June for the Flobathon. So this will kind of hopefully spur interest and donations to Child's Play charity that will get us to our $50,000 goal so that we can have a Flobathon in early June. And just get us to 2,000 likes for this episode, and then we'll kind of reconsider, and we'll look at the numbers, and we'll think of maybe another goal to get for Wednesday's episode of Farlands or Bust, and then Friday's episode if we do such things as those. If your voices will be heard, we will, instead of posting the episode, we'll post it on YouTube obviously, but instead of that, we will hold a live stream. I will live stream Farlands or Bust. Kind of what the 4-year anniversary live stream was supposed to be, but ended up not being because I had internet issues. We'll do a live Farlands or Bust, a mini Flobathon kind of fundraisers, not really, but leading up to the Flobathon. Am I making sense? I feel like I'm starting to over-explain things here. Just get this video to 2,000 likes, and we'll go from there. How about that? Does that surmise things? So yeah, I don't normally do that. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, I'm not trying to game the system. 2,000 likes is not the type of numbers that one requires in order to get proper view boosts from YouTube or anything like that. And plus, there's no ads running. There's no ads running on Farlands or Bust. There's no commercials. There's little pop-up ads sometimes, or little in the above the comments. There's sometimes an ad, whatever. But in general, it's of no consequence to me. It is kind of just to see what kind of response I can get from you guys for that. So yeah, am I making the sense? Have I made the sense, Wolfie? Wolfie? He'll probably spawn up here. But yeah, let's go with that. Let us go with that, and let us answer some questions from donors to Child's Play charity. Shall we? Shall we, Wolfie? We shall. This one from Aiden F. Aiden F. Sometimes people leave what appear to be their full names. I don't really... You should be a little bit more cagey about that information on the internet, I feel. So Aiden F, I will call you, with their donation, asks, I know you've talked about playing GTA 5, and you haven't expressed much interest in it, but would you consider playing it with Pause on Pause and Vintage Beef? I've considered it. I'm definitely 100% not going to be playing the single player. I feel like it's bad. It's just, it just leaves a sour taste in my mouth. The direction they've taken that, I mean, Grand Theft Auto 3, it was kind of new and endearing, but it's gotten to the point where it's like, all right, enough with the machismo, mobster, male, teenage, fantasy, weird stuff going on there. Let's maybe come up with some different characters and some different storylines. Ooh, it's the bottomless pit. It's like a perfect circle. Check this place out. Let's make the extreme... Oh, not as deep as I had hoped. Extreme King of the Ladder. Yeah, that does have a center too, doesn't it? Oh no, it doesn't. All right, well let's make the elevated hidey hole here anyway. So yeah, certainly would not be playing the single player, but I do have interest. I did have interest in the multiplayer until I saw that it requires 65 frickin' gigabytes of hard drive space. My entire C drive is not even that big. I've mentioned this before, but I have in a slight step of increased updates. I have ordered a new hard drive for my G drive, like I mentioned before, copying my G drive as my game installs drive. It's currently 120 gigs. Not big enough. Not big enough at all. I even need it for Dirt Rally I want to start playing. That's a 30 gig. Come on, guys. Optimize your video games. It's a 30 gig install for Dirt Rally, which I don't have the room for. I would have to start uninstalling games that I actually care about. So I'm waiting for that to arrive, and then we'll play Dirt Rally, and then maybe GTA. I'll talk about in what capacity in the morning. And hard driveness. Hard driveness indeed. Right, Wolfie? Yeah, that's what I thought. And so yeah, so probably it'd be cool to play the multiplayer GTA 5 on the PC. I don't know who I would play with. There's many groups out there. There is, of course, Beef and Paws are doing their thing. It seems like B-Dubs and Generic B and Pungents are having a good time. I know the heists are like a new thing, and some of those require a certain amount of players. So I don't know. We'll get that up and running. I know there's some runaround I got to do to even start playing the multiplayer by playing a little bit of the single player. So I'll have to do that off camera. If this happens, it's an expensive game too. It's a very expensive game. In addition to both expense having to buy a new hard drive, expense having to buy the actual game. So we'll see. So yeah, maybe look forward to that. Maybe look forward to that in kind of a quasi future here. I do like kind of the stuff. If you are one to be subscribed to Rooster Teeth, their Let's Play channel, they do kind of the weird little mini game challenge multiplayer things that they just have a lot of fun with. That stuff seems interesting to me. We'll see what the heists are all about. It seems kind of like single player missions that you can do multiplayer. That's always fun. Co-op stuff. But yeah, I have no definitive. I'm playing with this person or that group or whatever. So we'll see where that heads. Waterfall. But I've already actually purchased Dirt Rally while it was on sale. I just don't have the space to install it yet. So we're waiting for this new hard drive to come in, and I got vast and completely different answers where I mentioned, could I just duplicate the drive to the new hard drive, the G drive, since it's not my system drive, and will the come on down here, Wolfie. Will the Vigi games know where they are installed and all the files are, and I could just do a clone drive and just rename it back to the G drive, and everything will be all right? People were like, yeah, that'll work since it's not your system drive. Just do that. Just clone the drive and blah, 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 blah. Other people are like, no, you're going to have to reinstall everything, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, I don't know. It's a mystery that will be solved and perhaps cause a lot of heartbreak on my part. Just because anytime you ask the internet about a computer question or an issue, you're going to get a vast array of answers, both good and bad, and up and down, and left and right, and north and south. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. It's going to be a couple days before that comes in. But yeah, thanks for that donation in question there, Aiden F. I've got a question from James W. James W. asks, have you ever thought of making a Minecraft server dedicated to Farlands or Busts? Maybe where you could donate money in-game for certain items or perks that go directly to Child's Play charity? Well, that right there, that purchasing items that change the game is against the controversial Mojang terms of use for servers. I haven't heard of anyone actually having any issue with that or getting in trouble with Mojang whether or not they do that, but I wouldn't be able to do that. I've considered it. It just seems a lot of people I talk to, a lot of other YouTubers of varying degrees of subscribership. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to punch you. I meant to take your wool. Now Wolf is gonna murder you. Your fate was sealed. It seems like a lot of the people who have had public servers end up not having public servers after a couple months. They take a lot of maintenance. Even not public servers. I've considered even Patreon, a Patreon server. But I have a hard time keeping up with the Patreon stuff. Oh god! Alright, there's another half a heart. Keeping up with the Patreon stuff, it's not a friendly system. I've talked about this to the patrons before, but I've thought about that. I don't know. Simply because you can't. Like people say, make your server in beta 1.7.3. Yeah, you can't do that anymore. To the best of my knowledge, I'm sure you could without the the server authentication. Wow, I can't speak the words. I don't think works for older versions of the game anymore like that because the launcher isn't supported. So I wouldn't be able to do that. But I don't know. I don't know if that's a thing that might ever happen. It's one of those sort of, would the work I would have to put into it be worth the reward to the people who get to play on it? And I couldn't do a public server. It would have to be some sort of Patreon. And then there would be people who would be excluded, and that would make me feel not great. So I think overall I'd probably want to use that time to try to concentrate to get that map updated on the website, the overviewer map, which I haven't had the time to do regardless. So I've gotten that request before, and it seems interesting, but I'm afraid for now that is something that is not possible. But thank you very much for the donation, regardless, and the question there. This one from Paul R. What is or was your favorite exhibit at the Field Museum? Speaking of the Field Museum of Natural History, Chicago. As a kid, I loved the dinosaurs. Of course, now they have Sue right there in the entrance. The T-Rex, the most complete, not the largest as far as size of the specimen, but the most complete skeletal remains found. Most of the dinosaurs, most of the dinosaur bones you see in museums and stuff, they maybe find a femur, and the rest of it is gone, and then they just fill in the gaps. Whereas Sue, was the majority of the skull. Speaking of which, the skull that's on, you have the model, the complete T-Rex that's put together and looks like a complete T-Rex skeleton. Most of those aren't real bones, and in fact, the skull is actually somewhere else in the museum, the exhibit. It's actually surprisingly quite damaged and crushed, and it's just part of this giant rock that they really haven't excavated it from. At least the last time I saw it, which was a good 5 so years ago. So I could be wrong. They might have completely excavated the skull by now, but yeah, I like the dinosaurs. It's very cool the way they have that set up about in order to get to the dinosaurs, you have to go through the entire evolution exhibit where they start, with the little tiny single-celled organisms, and then talking about evolving through the different stages of life, and then the plants, and this and that, and then you eventually, it's kind of like a one-way street through this thing, and you eventually get to the dinosaurs, and then beyond there you keep going on, and they do kind of human evolution and stuff like that. It's kind of a cool little, it's a story. You're walking through a story. But yeah, I always like that. I always, as a kid, there's a kind of a geologic earth sciences area, and there is a setup of volcanoes and stuff. And they have a recreation of volcanoes that are in Hawaii that they have it's glowing. I always thought that was real lava, and I was always afraid of it as a kid, going there for school field trips and stuff. It's not. It's just fake stuff that's glowing with lights. But I always thought that was real, and was I would always be oh, don't get too close to it. You're gonna burn yourself. But so there was that. I always liked the Egyptian segment. And again, they have I was a very gullible child. They have a kind of a pyramid, a facade of a pyramid that you go into. I always thought it was a real pyramid that they like found right there in Chicago, and then they built the museum around. Very gullible child. I was not the brightest of bulbs, maybe, but yeah, you go down there, and then you go down a bunch of stairwells, and then down to the crypt underneath, and they have all the Egyptian, the mummies, and stuff like that, and cool stuff like that. That was kind of, I always liked that. But yeah, I can't quite say I have a favorite. The one cool thing that they do have, I think it is in at least maybe the world, but at least North America, the biggest meteorite collection. And those are throughout. That was cool to see the last time. Ow! There goes that other half a heart. Oh no, I'm all right. But my boots are probably taking a beating. Woof! Wolfie knows. Wolfie knows about boot maintenance. So yeah, they have a bunch of cool, like huge meteorites and little cross sections that you can see all the little different crystals in there. So that's really cool. And like some of them you can touch. I don't know if you're supposed to, but they're just like out there, and you can be like, "Ooh, I'm touching a meteorite that was like flying through space for 5 billion years and finally fell to Earth at some point." So that's really cool. If you want, I thought it was really cool that the Brain Scoop ended up going and now operating and being sponsored by the Field Museum. I think she's got a few of the videos where they're taking her through the meteorites thing and the exhibit and showing her the collections and whatnot. So that's really cool. One of the members of the astronomy club I belonged to back in Illinois actually worked at the Field Museum, and they got a bunch of examples and fragments of the Chelyabinsk meteor that exploded over Russia 2 years ago. Was it 2 years already? Might have been 3 years almost, even. And he was able to share a picture of that they came in. That was really cool. And, but yeah, it's a good museum. Good museum. Also, along the same veins, I also thought at the Science and Industry Museum of Chicago, they have a recreation of a coal mine where you actually like get in the elevator and you're going down to the coal mine, and they have all the like equipment and stuff. I thought that was a real coal mine. But very gullible child. Very gullible child. I thought, there used to be a coal mine here, and so they built a museum around it. No. Not a real coal mine, Kurt. But anyway, let's go to sleep and continue on in the morning. And awakeness. And interesting mountainsness. Let's go around to the left here. Right, Wolfie? Woof? No? Okay. Let's go around to the left and let's look at some different questions here from donors. From Ben. Are you the announcer from Forza Horizon? Ben! How did you get into graphic design? And did you go to college for it? I got into graphic design kind of accidentally. I was going to school, and I kind of was I had no idea what I wanted to do. And I liked art, and there was a department called graphic arts. So I decided to check it out, and then, as I've mentioned before, instead of focusing on finding what I wanted to do or learning new things, I was very much focused on how many credits do I need to get to graduate. So I took a couple classes in graphic arts. So by that time, I had accrued some credits in the graphic arts department. So I'm like, well, I might as well continue with the graphic arts. And that's kind of how I got into it. So it was kind of accidental. Graphic arts is different from graphic design in that it's more about the technical printing side. It's not about the art and design side of things. So that actually probably helped me, that I learned more about operating a press and the whole CMYK thing and your different what are they called, separations and registration marks and blah 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 blah. All that stuff I learned about from the technical side first. And then I went to art school to do kind of graphic design. So then I learned it's very tough to find somebody who, careful Wolfie, who both knows the technical side of things and then also the art side of things. It seems to be one or the other. People either go into graphic arts and they get very good technically. They know how to the different papers and the inks and the this and the that and the technology. But then when you ask them to design something, it's terrible. And then on the flip side, people go to art school and graphic design school, but they're never really well taught about the technical side of getting things printed. So they end up making beautiful designs and stuff, but then when you hand them over to the printer, they are very difficult to print because they aren't set up right with the way inks should actually work or stuff like that. I found the same thing also with web design. You had the back-end designers who could do PHP and make shopping carts and databases and all this other technical stuff. But then when came time for them to actually build the front end around it, it looked terrible and functioned terrible and was like a table-based design, and it was the worst. And then, of course, on the flip side, like myself, I was more about the design, the front-end design, the HTML and CSS stuff. But I couldn't wrap my head around PHP or JavaScript or anything like that. So that's kind of by accident. I did like computers and art on computers and stuff. I kind of, I think probably in the back of my head, I did really like video games, and I kind of hoped somehow I could be involved in art and computers kind of leads to video games sort of thing. Obviously, that never happened, and even now, I don't know that I would want to be involved in making video games, but that was kind of always a thing in the back of my head. But yeah, I did go to school for it, kind of. I never did any sort of formal graphic design school. I more ended up in a fine arts discipline, and anybody else who has gone to fine arts school knows that it's not really job oriented. Unfortunately, it's more just about art for the art's sake, but I guess I was able to apply it to things, and I did get a job doing web design and graphic design, and it does blend into what I'm doing now. There was video editing, there was a lot of audio processing and audio editing and stuff that went into that, so I built the Far Lands of Us website. Hey! So all of my skills were not for naught, I suppose. So that goes well, I suppose. But now I don't know that I would be able to get back into it, which is frightening. If perhaps the YouTube thing goes upside down on me, I'm not sure what I would do. But let's not think about that. Let's think happy thoughts. Child's Play charity, raise the money. All that fun stuff that we talked about at the beginning of the episode. Fun stuff. Positive vibes. Positive vibes, please. Speaking of positive vibes, got a donation and question here from Marianne and Steven, or perhaps Stefan. Steven says, "My girlfriend and I have come to the conclusion that you are adorable. I don't know if the shaved head and giant beard look was aimed at being adorable. Not sure if that was the direction I was trying to head, but thank you, I think. Not exactly the vibe I was trying to put off, but thank you, I suppose. The question, we were wondering, what is your favorite compliment to receive? Adorable? Maybe not so much. But what is your favorite compliment to receive? What is your favorite compliment to give? Compliment to receive. Probably that I'm funny, or like just being able to make somebody laugh really hard is a compliment to me. I don't know why. I wasn't like a class clown or anything like that. I don't really have stand-up comedy or anything in my mind. That's not really my goal or anything like that. But being able to make somebody laugh for good reasons, not like laugh at me because I'm a dope or something, but which I'm fully prepared to acknowledge happens far more frequently than the other type of laughter. But yeah, being able to make somebody laugh is probably a good compliment to receive. Compliment to give, probably the same thing. Oh, this is a neat little area as I fall off a cliff there. Probably the same thing. You know, I don't. Ow! There goes that other half a heart. Careful, Wolfie. Yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty awkward about giving compliments, as would be indicated by my general introversion and awkwardness. Yeah, probably either letting somebody know that they make me laugh and or are funny, or probably telling someone that they're smart. But that doesn't happen so often because I'm so much smarter than everybody else. Oh, boy. Nobody laughed for that, I'm assuming. So yeah, that was a new question. That was a kind of a different one that we haven't gotten before. So thank you very much. Who was it? Stephen and lost it. Marianne. Indeed. This one from eBag? eBag? Are you like eBay, but you just sell bags? eBag says, do you have any advice for my sister and her fiancé, who are moving to the far lands of Chicago-ness? Oh, this might be an old question. This might have been like months past. I'm starting to get down to the questions here. We had quite the surge there for a while when we were going east, so I'm starting to catch up. But have any advice for his or her sister and fiancé who are moving to the far lands of Chicago, being you are formerly from Chicago, best places to eat, entertainment, really anything? Well, I suppose it depends on if they're moving to Chicago downtown proper, or more on the outskirts, the suburbs, if you will. Advice? Leave early for work, because the traffic is horrendous. The worst you will ever encounter, probably. Regardless of whether or not it is quote-unquote rush hour, or raining, or snowing, or anything, just leave early. Give yourself a lot of time and a lot of patience to get from point A to point B. Anywhere, really. You don't have to be going to Chicago or out of Chicago. Just from any point A to any point B in the Chicagoland area. Be prepared for some sadness. It's really tough to say. I never really got... Like, I wasn't the type of local person who would have people visiting, oh, I gotta take you to all the great restaurants and the hot spots or anything. I really was... Have I been walking the wrong way? I've been walking the wrong way for quite a significant moment here. All right, well, that was a mistake. I must have gotten turned around when navigating the mountains. The mountains! I mean, there's always good places to, obviously the museums, it's not a real coal mine. There's some advice. It's not a real coal mine. It's a reproduction for educational purposes at the Museum of Science and Industry. But yeah, definitely visit the museums. I can't say much nice things about Michigan Avenue or like Navy Pier, kind of touristy traps. So I would say avoid those kind of, unless you're really looking for Millennium Park similarly, unless you're looking for the dedicated tourist type activities. Restaurants, the best pizza, in my opinion, and this will be debated amongst other Chicagoans, I'm sure. Lou Malnati's, they have gluten-free crusts as well. Lou Malnati's is going to be your best bet for Chicago pizza. Get the pan pizza. That is what you want. You can get it with the butter crust as well. That's give or take. You don't have to, but the butter crust is good. Butter crust. Portillo's hot dogs, those can be had outside of Chicago. But Portillo's, don't put ketchup on your hot dog. That is sacrilege in Chicago. You should see a White Sox game and not a Cubs game. Again, my personal opinion. What else in Chicago? You should really ask my sister who lives in Chicago, as opposed to me. Like, she really likes Chicago and is like, that's like her town sort of thing. So she always is a little bit disappointed in my opinions of Chicago. It's not my favorite place in the world, downtown particularly. But yeah, I mean, you can't go wrong, really. I mean, you can go wrong, but you know, generally good food. Pretty much everywhere you go. Yeah, I don't have any specific. It's a nice place. Just be prepared for the traffic, and the anger, and the feeling that people are out to murder you on the roads. Just be prepared for that. And otherwise, enjoy the winters. Enjoy those. The winters are interesting. The summers are humid and rainy. But yeah, I'm not a good tour guide. That is the advice I have to give everyone. But hopefully, I'm being an okay tour guide on our journey to the far lands. I got ourselves a little bit lost. So yeah, not a good tour guide here at this episode. But yeah, let me know. Like I said at the beginning of the episode, this is my first time attempting such a thing, so I don't know what sort of response it's going to get. But let's maybe try to get this video to 2,000 likes. That'll let me know that, yeah, it is quite a positive thing if on Friday we do a live stream of Far Lands or Bust, a little charity live stream, try to raise money live, as those sort of things tend to work out a little bit better than the little slower burn that has been Far Lands or Bust on YouTube videos. But, yeah, we're getting close. Nearly 75% of the way to our $50,000 goal for Child's Play charity. And I do thank everybody who has donated and who continues to donate. FarlandsOrBust.com. My name is Kurt. This has been episode 478 of Far Lands or Bust. Thanks so much for watching. I will see you next time. The dinosaurs